Still here. No, much more.
I do my trailers up, or my trails up at the cabin, and it's about a half mile, but I did zip it twice. But with this, the way things are going, I did it once like 2 weeks ago, big mistake, and it's like, I was chopping, hay almost.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it's, the good news is I had it all the little things, so I can go really fast.
All right, so since we don't have an official appointed chairperson for the committee, I will call the meeting to order. ADRC and Aging Advisory Committee. The attendance sheet has gone around. This meeting and all other meetings of this committee are open to the public. Proper notice has been posted and given to the media in accordance with Wisconsin statutes so that the citizenry may be aware of the time, place, and agenda of this meeting. So the agenda approval,
I'll make a motion to amend the agenda to add other discussion items after Wisconsin statutes at the end.
okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Favor?
I.
Yes,
I don't.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah, that's it, you know.
Here right now. Minutes of previous meeting from April 11th.
Motion to approve the minutes from April 11th, 2024.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Public comment? Have anyone here today for that? So moving on to election of committee chairperson and vice chairperson. We do have two members today, Judy and Mary, that were unable to be here. Nominations are accepted for all members on the committee. So
Should we nominate them?
Judy
I'm just
for
saying.
chair and Mary for vice chair.
That's what I was thinking.
I'm just saying, I'm just putting it out there so everyone is aware.
Okay,
Can we wait until the next meeting when they are present?
We can table it if you would like to. Sure.
I'll second that.
Okay. And we are also going to table, we're not on a good roll here. We're going to table the second agenda item with our Adult Protective Services lead worker, Tracy Weisner. She's going to share information about legal decision-making. This is coming back from the ask at our last meeting of explaining the differences on what guardianship is, what power of attorney is, and what the differences are. So she will provide us that information next meeting. The next item is member recruitment. So as the bylaws state, we need to have representation across all of our target groups. And the two remaining representatives that we are looking for are individuals to represent the 60+ population of folks. We have an interested individual to serve in that capacity that is next on the agenda. But the vacant position right now that we're currently recruiting for, we have been having some conversations with some caregivers in the community, asking caregivers who are currently receiving services through the Alzheimer's Family Caregiver Support Program or the National Family Caregiver Support Program to see if they would be interested in sitting on this committee. Don't have anyone yet that has volunteered. If you know of somebody that you think might be interested, please let me know. I will continue to be searching for someone to fill that final seat. So as is the process, within this committee, when we have a nomination, the nomination goes to the Human Services Board, and then the Human Services Board makes the recommendation for it to be official through the County Board of Supervisors. So, from meeting to meeting to meeting, it may take, because we meet every other month, should all be approved by the following one, but since we don't, I hope to bring an interested person to you guys to our August meeting. That's what I'm shooting for that. Member appointment recommendation, Megan Strand. Not to confuse everybody, we're gonna have two Megans at the table. Megan is a case manager here at the Wapaka campus of Theta Care. She has been within the healthcare setting for 7 years. Her experience and the population she's going to be representing is ages 60 plus, but she has experience working with folks of all ages. Megan will be a nice addition to this team, having a pulse for, as one of our community partners, in the area, and having contact with our folks within the hospital setting, a little bit different than how we are intersecting with people within the community. So, Megan would like to join our group. I would entertain a motion for this nomination.
I'll make a motion to approve Megan Strand to the, what is the name of this? The ADRC Aging Advisory Committee.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion? Vote, all in favor? Great. We'll bring that to the Human Services Board, on their July 3rd meeting. We'll have that on there. Okay, losing track of where I am here. Okay, current operations update. Currently, the ADRC, right now, I looked at the work that we have completed for the first quarter, January through March. No surprise, we are continuing to see a bounce back since COVID and pandemic numbers. We are seeing an increase across the board on people that we are serving. Public benefits, long-term support programs, and income maintenance are the top items that people are calling the ADRC looking for assistance on. This goes back the entire time that I have been with the ADRC for the last almost 4 years now. We see a lot of calls of folks calling, looking for information on how can I get assistance in my home? I want to know if I'm eligible for family care for some of those managed care organizations. Within the first quarter, we completed of those assessments to determine if folks are eligible for that program. We screened 73 individuals, and we enrolled onto the program. 33 individuals we enrolled onto the program. So of the individuals that we assess, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be eligible for services. And sometimes when we find that they're eligible for services, sometimes they change their mind and decide not to enroll into programs. But overall, looking at the functional screens that we did a year ago, we're up 22% from where we were last year. So we've seen an additional 13 people from what we did last year. The total calls into the ADRC was over 2,000 calls into the ADRC in those 3 months. That averages about 33 calls a day. Those aren't always, I'm looking for the phone number of X place. It can be, my mom has this situation and I just have no idea what to do, where to turn. What resources might you have available for my mom? We also have individuals that are calling with reports of abuse or neglect, calling to make those types of reports. calling for, different types of information. We have our ADRC as our main gate of our entry point for folks to enter, so they just need to know one phone number. We get a lot of phone calls that way. That phone rings a lot. But thanks to Pat, she holds down the fort up there. We've got a good group of people up there answering that phone. So moving on to our dementia care specialist within the ADRC then. She has just finished the Train the Trainer training on Stress Busters, which is a program that we will be scheduling and providing to caregivers specifically. And the program is new to us. It is a program that is known nationwide. Our dementia care specialist just completed a training with several individuals throughout the country. So that was pretty cool, but we are excited about this opportunity, excited for the curriculum. Our dementia care specialist is really eager and excited to start this. We are going to be looking for a couple more staff members to also get trained in this program. This program does require 2 facilitators. So we're in the beginning stages of getting all of our ducks in a row with it, but very excited with the potential and what we see on the horizon with this. And hoping fall to be able to offer it for the first time.
So, how the class works is it's a 9-week course. Each week is a 90-minute session, and it teaches caregivers, coping strategies and techniques to manage the stress of caregiving. So, there's 2 versions of it, one for caregivers with dementia and one for caregivers of, older adults with chronic illnesses or chronic pain. So obviously she's a dementia care specialist, so she wants to run that dementia one probably first to kind of reach some of those clients she's already made connections with. But we hope to offer one session of each class at least once a year, if not more. Just kind of depends on the availability of our staff for those, 9 weeks is kind of a big commitment, so we're not sure what the community interest will be, but it's been very popular in other parts of the state comparatively to some of the other programs that we were looking at, so, yeah.
We also are continuing our partnership with UW Extension, hoping to be able to partner with them in assisting with additional programs. This may be one of them, that we can get their assistance and possibly being a second facilitator. So continuing to have those conversations. The reason that this has been a little slow to roll out with UW Extension, they're in the process of recruiting for that person who will be helping us. So they've been a little shorter on staff, but
Will there be a cost for the caregivers to take the course?
No, so really the only cost for the class that the ADRC would incur is staff time, and then also the booklets for the class cost about $20 per participant. However, there is a participant cap. We are not allowed to have classes larger than 8 folks. So we are hoping for different partner groups to sponsor the cost of those booklets. So the plan is to maybe seek for the first class this fall, we plan to ask Alpaca Caregivers Alliance. We are a member of that group, and we happen to know that they are looking for some marketing opportunities to get their name out. So I think it will be a really good partnership for at least that first class.
Okay.
Sorry.
Is the class in person or can it be done remotely?
So we have the opportunity to offer in both ways. It's approved to be both. Our first one we plan to do in person, and the thing is, when we set up a course, it has to be the same throughout all 9 sessions. So it can't be the first couple are in person and the next couple are virtual. So we hope to do the fall where kind of the weather is nice. It's not too gross outside yet in person, and then an early like winter, spring one next year virtually. And with the virtual ones, we do have, as a partnership with Alpaca Caregiving Alliance, we do have iPads to loan for people who maybe would need that to attend virtual. So.
Could I also back up with some of the data that you were sharing? Do we get a report either quarterly or annually regarding the numbers that you were talking about?
I could provide a report.
Just in case,
We do also publish an annual report, as a
As an
department,
agency.
so, there's that as well.
There are different data points that are shared with the Human Services Board that are very surface level data of just for the ADRC line. Main ADRC part of it is just the total number of calls into the ADRC. It doesn't really dive too deep into the details, but I can start with a report and see if it will meet your needs, and we can fine tune it, change it as we go along,
thank you.
as you would like. Yeah. My, what my goal in providing reports to individuals is so that a number just isn't a number, that you have a little bit of knowledge on the backside of what that number represents. Because if you see that it's up or down, I mean, you just know that it's a number. You know if it's changed from month to month, year to year, and what could be some of the reasons for those things. So, yeah, if we had to report it, it could help a more robust conversation of what's going on. So, yeah, absolutely, I can do that. Megan did a training or not a training, an informational session for us in Clintonville, talking about dementia care specialist and for education on dementia. And it was well received with the staff
So,
in Clintonville.
I was pinch hitting a little bit. Denise, our dementia care specialist, has been really hard at work at developing different partnerships in our communities. In particular, the focus the last couple months has been with our libraries. She's had discussions with Fremont Library. They just received a grant and are really focusing on dementia, resources, education, and services in their community. She's had some discussions with New London and is planning some things in the fall with them. And then Clintonville, they had a staff in service last week. Yes, it was last week. And really wanted some education for their staff. So I went in and did a presentation called How to Speak Dementia. It's kind of about how to provide customer service to folks who have dementia. So that was about a 30-45 minute training. And then we really kind of also had some really good discussions on just partnering. In the city of Clintonville, our services are primarily at the community center, which is not too far from the library, but just kind of due to that, the library wasn't totally aware of everything that we had to offer. So did a bunch of education about our programs, our services, and, you know, got some contacts shared so we can kind of cross promote things, and it's going to be a really nice partnership moving forward too. So
Absolutely. Just as a reminder, our dementia care specialist works half-time as a dementia care specialist. So of the 40 hours in her work week, she gets 20 hours to focus on the dementia care part of her job. It is more than a full-time job. So trying to balance that, holding her back a little bit. She's very eager. There's a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of work to be done, and work that she's very excited to get to. So Megan has been trying to help in balancing some of that for her as well. So counties, I think I speak for most counties statewide in that we would really like to see the state provide funding to make the dementia care specialist position full-time. Right now, the state has provided enough funding to make it mandatory statewide for at least a half-time position of a dementia care specialist statewide. They did that a couple of years ago. And we would like them to increase that. We do see that there definitely is a need without a doubt. So the state's doing a lot of really neat things as it relates to assisting with providing programming and different documents, handouts to help dementia care specialists get out into the community and share that information. So it's newer project, newer, position really for the state, that they have started doing, within the last 10 years. So, yeah. Within the dementia care specialist, position, one other note is she's also working to expand support groups, in the area, and is looking to expand one here in Wapaka, right?
Well, she was able to expand one here in Wapaka, yes. So, Faith Community Church, I'm not misspeaking, I believe that's the right church. One of their members there who actually works with the neuroscience group in Appleton, it was kind of her passion project. She created a caregiver support group. And her schedule only allowed her to offer that every other Friday. So she approached our dementia care specialist and asked if she might be able to facilitate so it can be offered every Friday. Now, like we mentioned, Denise's role is just part or a half-time position. So, you know, we're going to need partners to also bring support groups to other areas of the county, but this was a good opportunity to at least, you know, start with something existing and, you know, gain some experience. So she's been able to refer some clients there, and it's been a really good group so far. So, yeah.
What time on Friday, do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head, I'm sorry. I can get you that after the meeting though. I think she actually has it posted in our hallway on one of the bulletin boards.
I'll have to get it in the resource directory.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Pat. Our benefit specialists, providing support to individuals, within the community, helping them navigate, different situations or issues they may have with their health insurance, helping them to connect with Social Security, helping, them to sometimes see if they're eligible for food share on a variety of different things, even housing situations that folks are faced with. Most recently, the most unique situation was pertaining to, an individual's well and needing support within their personal well. So those benefit specialists, their area is pretty vast in the different areas that they can help folks. So it's not just not insurance, health insurance, it's in a lot of different areas. We have the first quarter, days to combined, because we have two benefit specialists. One, as a reminder, that serves 18 to 59. And then the second benefit specialist serves 60 and older. Together combined, they served 104 individuals. Sometimes those are individuals that have come in with paperwork that they're not quite sure what it means. Sometimes those are folks that you're working with for an extended period of time, sometimes a year or more. The Medicaid, the MAP program, hold on. I didn't write down the name of it. Medicaid purchase plan is going to go back to charging members for their premiums. With COVID-19 through the pandemic, there was a pause put on those premiums. Individuals did not have to pay for their premiums if they participated in the MAP program. Individuals who are receiving MAP services are given letters, will be given letters in July now, notifying them that their premiums will again start again. They will be responsible for them again, starting in August. We looked in our income maintenance database, and we were able to see 386 individuals within Wapaka County will be affected by this. Trying to see what we can do to kind of get ahead of the game a little bit in preparation for this, because we expect people will be surprised with this and will have questions on how they pay their premiums, how they can access this online, to get to the place where they need to make their payments. So it's not just starting the same thing that was before. They're starting it up again, and it's going to look a little bit different. So that's on the horizon. So that's about a wrap up on benefit specialists. Adult protective services. We were talking before the meeting about the shirts Tammy was referring to. World Elder Abuse Awareness Day is a recognized day worldwide to provide awareness to elder abuse, and ways individuals can speak up, on behalf of, that happening and bringing awareness to it, to stop it from happening. This is a project that started back in 2006, I do believe. Yep. And this was brought through the World Health Organization, within the United Nations, actually, and they were the ones that brought this about to be a worldwide event. This year, World Elder Abuse Awareness Day is this Saturday, Strawberry Fest, here in Wapaka. It's a large crafting type event. And the ADRC will have a booth, at the event for the first time. We've never done this before. Uncharted waters for us. We are going to all wear our purple shirts, in awareness of the day. We'll have information, be handing out to folks with information on what elder abuse is, what it looks like, and how you can be part of stopping it. So, we will also have a lot of information on the ADRC and aging programs as well. Other things within Adult Protective Services, we have had them out and about in the community talking about power of attorney documents, and the importance of completing that paperwork ahead of time before you need it. We had a senior resource fair in March. We had one of our Adult Protective Services social workers at that event, and she brought along with her power of attorney blank documents. She went through them very quickly. So getting the word out, providing this paperwork to folks, encouraging them to fill it out. We will also have those documents at Strawberry Fest as well that we will be handing out. Let's see, what else do I have here? Reports of abuse and neglect for the first quarter. We did receive 108 reports, and those resulted in 52 new investigations. Investigations within the world of Adult Protective Services is lengthy. To do the job and make sure that we have all of the information that we need to protect that person that we got that information on. So that is a little bit of a decrease from what we saw last year, a decrease of about 20 people. With all of our programs, it's a wave that we ride. Sometimes we do see numbers go down a little bit. Adult Protective Services for this first quarter was down a little bit. The last thing within Adult Protective Services, our Human Services Director is having conversations with our Wapaka County Circuit Court judges, working to improve our process, in which our Adult Protective Services social workers are intersecting with the private attorneys for private guardianships. We're working with the judges to see to it that the private attorneys are following statute and the local county ordinances, and following what they need to be doing. There's been a negative effect, a significant negative effect on our social workers here within our building, within Adult Protective Services. So we're working on that.
I'm sorry.
No, that's
Could you explain that a little more? What's happening?
So the guardianships that we do, sometimes we have individuals who are able to pay for an attorney themselves. If they can pay for an attorney themselves, the department doesn't do the guardianship for those folks. In some cases, we have a private attorney that is doing a guardianship for somebody, and they also require protective placement, which would require an assessment, a comprehensive evaluation from one of our social workers. The attorneys contact the ADRC with that referral, and those referrals go to our Adult Protective Services staff to complete those evaluations. We're not always given enough time to do those evaluations. We're not being provided notice of changes in the hearing dates, in the communication in general with regard to the private attorneys and our department working together, just trying to improve that communication. Now, when we're working with attorneys not just within Wapaka County, but Portage County, Allegheny County. So we're working with several different individuals. So trying to wrap our hands and head around the situation to make it better for everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, because ultimately, it's not just our social workers that are impacted, it is most definitely the people that we're serving as well. So,
So the question is, are they trying to work with you? I mean, are they realizing there's an issue?
we've been telling them that.
You know,
Yep, so we're hoping maybe that, our judges can have a little more influence on helping to support that. So, yeah. They're not employees of Wapaka County. They are bound to statute though in making sure that they follow the law. So we are taking one step at a time here with the judges, and our director has been the one that has, been part of helping to start some of those conversations. So it's good. Yes, yes, very good. Transportation. I am working with East Central Regional Planning Commission and our Economic Development Corporation to bring to the county to complete a feasibility study of our transportation needs within Wapaka County. We have several partners that are providing transportation in our county, but we all are working in individual silos. The feasibility study, the purpose of this study would be to see how we can best do our work of transportation and best serve our people in a more inclusive way with one another, with the different providers. We have the request for proposal, looking for someone to complete that assessment. Should be posted now. I didn't have a chance to look before this meeting, but they are actively looking for someone to do that feasibility study. The Economic Development Corporation they're the ones that are helping to put together that request for proposal.
So I have a question.
Yep.
Now that Kevin's medical is not in service, what has happened to all those people that utilized his services?
Abby Vans is a very popular service now around this area. Abby Vans was used before, but they have been called to serve people a lot more than they had before. They seem to be doing a really nice job here in our community. We are still able to provide wheelchair transportation to folks that we intersect with, mostly through Metro, right, Pat?
Metro.
In New London.
Yeah.
That,
Sometimes Fox Valley Cab, but
yeah.
mostly Metro.
Metro is a company, even before all of this happened with Kevin's, Metro Transport was the one that we almost exclusively used because of their flexibility and their ability to accommodate the requests that we had. Kevin's was scheduled out far in advance, and so when we would have the ride requests, they weren't always able to accommodate that based on their scheduling. So,
but everybody has been able to still get help after that.
from what I'm being told, yes.
Okay. I'm
Yes.
just curious about that, because I know we had a lot of people that utilize that, so I'm thinking, gee whiz, are those people able to even get out now? You know, so I'm just curious.
The managed care organizations, those companies that provide family care services to individuals in our community, they used Kevin's a lot. And they have since replaced that service with Abby Vans. Participants on the program do a nice job of connecting back with the ADRC if things are not going well within the managed care organization that they're working with. So far, we haven't heard much in the way of complaints with transportation. Also, our transportation coordinator, sometimes she will get calls about things that aren't going well also, and she hasn't really heard of much of anything about that either. Yes, it is. So Abby Vans may be filling that need, that void.
So you said there is a RFP to hire somebody to do a study or contract with somebody to do a study of the transportation issues in Wapaka County. Do you know, is Door County in the East Central group?
That's a good question. I
Oh,
don't know if they are. I'm not sure.
And for what it's worth,
Mhm.
I'm assuming you would be working then with whoever is hired to do the study.
Mhm.
Several years ago, I did a strategic plan for Door County, and transportation was one of their top issues. They got both state and federal grants as a result of that study to address transportation, which in Door County, is, you probably know, is extremely difficult just because of the geography with no counties connected to it
Mhm.
other than Brown, that a lot of people had a real difficult time. And so they turned it around and became one of the best public service transportation programs. Now, I've been retired for 6 years, so I don't know what it is today, but at that time, it was one of the best. So if whoever is contracted with could at least talk with somebody in Door
Sure.
County to see how they are doing it and what they've been doing. It was really a model to look at.
That's
The
wonderful. Thanks
other
for that information.
Related question is the DAV, Disabled American Veterans, part of the veterans, part of the assistance in transportation in Wapaka County? Do you know?
Are they part of it?
Yes.
If they were, it would be through our Veteran Services Office, not directly within our specialized transportation. No,
So that would be for whoever's doing the study, somebody that they should talk to about, because that is free or low-cost transportation for veterans for their appointments. So just FYI.
yes, absolutely. We want this plan or this assessment to be covering as many different, all of the pockets, all of the pieces of Wapaka County. There's a lot to transportation. There's a lot of different ways that you can look at transportation. So employment is a big push right now. Employment is very much in the news and the media, but there's a lot of great need other than that. So, yeah. Okay, next I had on my list, you don't see my list. Nutrition is the next thing that I have on my list.
Okay. Well, I provided this sheet to you all. If you remember back to our last meeting, it's quite a while ago now. I provided a sheet that looked very much like this for 2 of our 3 service models. So this is the last one that I put together from last year's survey data to share with you. So this is in regards to our Bistro 60, which is our restaurant voucher dining program. I'm not going to read through everything in here. It very much mimics the data that we got from our other programs. Really high satisfaction rate. Some interesting things in here was that evening was the most popular reported time to visit the restaurants, which just kind of goes to show there's some value in this model, because that's not a time we have been able to offer on our other service models before. So there was also a lot of responses requesting additional locations. That's not new to me. We've been getting that since day 1 of this program, and we're working on that. So, you know, lots of good data in there. So, that's that. A few other things I wanted to just note for you. The state Office on Aging has released a new nutrition programs operations manual. And we will be required to comply with all of those updates by January of 2025. I will say right now, there are a few things in there that are going to be challenging to meet by that deadline. But we're not the only program in the state to feel that way. In particular, so this is just an example. We're going to start being required to keep on file standardized recipes for the meals that are provided within the congregate meal program and home delivered meal program. And because we contract with restaurants, it'll be quite a development project working with them to kind of gather those recipes and keep them on file. So in particular, one of our restaurants, Schuler's in Wapaka, if you kind of take a look at the history of the nutrition program menus, you'll see that a lot of times they're serving different things every month all the time. They are very creative in the meals they provide. So that just gathering all of those recipes and keeping them on file will be a change. It's not something they've had to do before. So that's just one of the changes to note. There's other things that we're going to be working on. And also, I'm just going to mention it very briefly, but the ADRC and aging programs are also expecting this fall to have a whole new statewide database reporting system that we're going to be transitioning to. And with that transition, there's a lot of unknowns in how it will affect our internal processes for data management and tracking and things like that. So it's a year of change. It really is. Additionally, since we last met, our Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program opened on June 1st. That's a statewide program that Wapaka County started participating in last year. Basically, Wapaka County receives an allocation of vouchers that seniors who qualify based on their income and age can then get. They're free. There's nothing, they just fill out a form and saying that they meet those requirements. And they can take those vouchers to local farmers markets and use them to purchase fresh fruits and vegetables. So the value of the vouchers, it's $45 per packet per person who qualifies. We received 169 voucher packets this year and opened on June 1st, and we have about 115 or so distributed. So we're almost out of them.
In the first month.
Well, in
The first 2 weeks.
Really the first 2 weeks. I mean, it was quite a storming of the doors.
We didn't go through all of them though,
Last
last year.
We received more last year. We received about 250. The value of them was smaller last year. They were $35 in value. And the state then readjusted this year. So part of the reason there's less is because they increased the value of them. And then also, based on the fact that not all of them were collected in our county last year, we received a little less. So when we run out, which I expect will be soon, there is an opportunity for me to reach out to the state coordinator and see if she has any left. There's just no guarantee that we'll get any more than that. So it's really exciting. I was telling Tammy when I saw you last that Clintonville has been an outlier. We don't usually get a lot of participation in our programs in Clintonville, or at least our in-person programs, I should say. Home delivered meals is pretty well utilized, but not our in-person. And they were the first ones to run out. So very interesting. But one of the things we hope to do from this is, by the end of this, we will have had 170 people come to our doors. And I would say a big portion of those have not come to our doors before. So I'm hoping to take all of the names of folks who don't participate in any of our other services and send them personalized invitations to attend our meal sites or sign up for our restaurant program. So that's that. So that is everything I had for nutrition.
A lot,
Yes,
always.
there's always a lot.
Our supportive services programs, our caregiver programs, the National Family Caregiver Program and our Alzheimer's Family Caregiver Support Program. We're averaging right now, continuing about 20 individuals a month that we are serving. That is, those two programs, we have very limited funding in both of those programs, but try to serve as many people as we can. Those caregivers that we're serving, sometimes we have people with a one-time need, one-time respite. Sometimes we're serving folks over the entire year. Just all depends. So that's why it's not always the same number every month. People coming on and coming off of that program.
Yeah, and I will say I just did complete a review of where we are budgetarily within those programs. And I will say the National Family Caregiver Support Program, we have a little bit more support this year than we will looking forward to next year because we have American Rescue Plan Act funding that we're using up. And that's something that we won't have renewed again from federal or state government. So that program, we have room to add about one more client allocation. So clients can receive up to $4,000 in services. So we have around $4,000 sitting unallocated in that program. And then our American Family Caregiver Support Program also has room for about one more full-time client. So doing pretty good. And like comparatively to last year, those programs were pretty full all the time. We didn't have a lot of space to add new people. So we're happy to be this far in the year with still room to, you know, find a new referral or a new client who could benefit. So
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, I think that wraps up our current operations.
it's a long section.
We do a lot of things in our operations. Aging plan, a reminder, we have our aging survey here for folks to complete. Let us know if you have one.
I have 3.
Oh, yes, thank you. If you'd like to take some with you, I have a stack here. We have it out several different places. We're gonna also have copies at Strawberry Fest. One of the things that I'm hoping to do at Strawberry Fest is gather individuals' email addresses, hoping to be able to build our base, our digital platform, being able to, in the future, in the future, hopefully print less of our newsletters, which will be a cost savings for us.
That's a really good place to go, the Strawberry Fest. I think you're gonna have a really good day over there.
Yeah, I think so. I hope so. Did you have anything else that you wanted to add for?
Well, between now and the next time we meet, the survey collections will close. We kind of close that at the end of July. Melissa and I have been diligently working on draft goals for the aging plan, which we will share. I think our plan is the next meeting. It's either, you'll see them coming very soon.
I did.
And then from that, there will be some more plan writing and revision and stuff throughout the year, but we're on track right now. We have some really good ideas for the draft goals. And I think it'll be a good plan all together at the end of it. For both of us, this is our second experience going through the whole plan. And the first time we did it, we were both still very new in our current roles. And so we have a little bit more experience with it this time.
Yes. Yes, it's nice to hear from people through these surveys. We are finding that information that folks are sharing in the survey are not services or supports that the ADRC can directly assist people with. So looking in the future and collaborating with other partners and helping to start movement in a positive direction to help support our people. An example of that is housing. Housing, you know, is a problem in many places for many folks, variety of ages. So yeah, more to come on that though in August. Courthouse renovation. Just wanted to bring you guys up to speed on where things are at with the renovation as it relates to the ADRC. We are continuing to look at our blueprints of the space, our redesigned space, which we're going to move from second floor down to first floor, combined with veteran services. And as part of that, we will have a shared reception area. We'll have 2 desks when you first come in, one for ADRC, one for veteran services, and then separate entrance ways to get back to the respective departments. But within that space, we need to make sure that we have enough room for our employees and conference rooms and workspace and we're not there yet. We're gonna keep working and, hopefully soon be able to get to, agreed upon plan. We do have also, public health on the second floor is going to be starting their renovation process soon, within the next few months here. Public health is immediately adjacent to our offices, within public health and ADRC share a wall. So that project is going to cause disruption to folks in our unit. We need to figure out a plan on where our folks are gonna go during that time. I don't expect that it's going to be noisy every single day, but we need to be able to provide folks with an environment that they can do their work in. So we're working on that right now. Hybrid, the nice thing with the remote work that was approved a few years back, we do have that option, and many of our folks have the ability to work from home. Pat, unfortunately, does not have the ability to work from home. But her office is actually not within our hallway. She's one section over. Hopefully, things work out and she will have an environment that will be a good one for her to work. The timelines within the buildings and the different phases and are the details within that need to be sorted out more definitely. And the county board of supervisors is working on figuring that out, and the subcommittees, I should say more. The subcommittees more so are working. A lot of moving pieces right now within this renovation project. Yeah. Okay, advocacy.
Mhm.
Do you want to start?
Yep.
Okay.
So I mentioned it last time we met, but Aging Advocacy Day was held on May 14th at the state capitol. What I provided and printed out was the entire packet that attendees received. I thought that it would be good for you to kind of see the whole schedule, kind of see what the day looks like. Melissa and I were both traveling to a conference that we're required to attend on that day for our grant project. However, Denise Roman from our office, our dementia care and caregiving specialist, was able to attend. One thing we as an ADRC would really like to do a better job of looking next year and on is representing a little bit better at this event. Not just our staff, but citizens, committee members, and things like that. This year being an off year for the planning of the biennium budget, our representatives were a lot more present at this day. We were meeting directly with them, not with their staffers. And one comment that was very clear, specifically from Senator Joan Baldwin, was, yeah, it's great that you're here. It's great you're telling me about this, but your employees, where are your board members? Where are your community members? What are their stories? Why are they not here representing? So we've taken that to stock and are going to work much more to have some representation next year and recruit people. So you might be one of the people we asked to help attend with us next year. But this packet goes through the top requests that were brought forward in that day and kind of gives a lot of good data statewide about why these are issues that need to be advocated for. So in particular, I did a lot of I assisted a lot with the writing of the nutrition supports one, which starts on page 9, specifically highlighting home delivered meal programs across the state and the need for funding and support for that program. However, each one of these issue briefs and the topics highlighted in them are things that we see at our local ADRC. We see the need for all of these things. These are things that affect our work every day and the people we serve every day. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but that is an update on that. We will hopefully have a more solid update for you as it relates to a local advocacy event at the August meeting. We need to collaborate with some of our other counties and organizations that are within our district, and get that event planned and, organized. But then I also wanted to mention too, I reached out to Janet Zander and asked her to, come to Wapaka County and provide, a training of sorts for our board members about, advocacy and kind of what their role as board members, how they can elevate their role and what they can do to support the people that sit at these meetings reporting out to them. So she's agreed to do that in September for us and kind of getting those details planned, but that will be an invitation that we extend to all of you. So.
Yes.
That'll be good, because a lot of times you don't know, like, cause I've been on the board quite a while, but there's never anybody who will sit with us and be like, okay, this is the steps that you need to take
That you can
to
do.
make this happen or that
Yep.
happen.
Mhm.
So that'll be really nice to have somebody come and say, oh, hey, this is what
Yep.
you can do.
And a lot of times it's not a huge time commitment, it's not a lot of effort, but it's just kind of recognizing where you should better partner with the groups that you work with. And how you can support their work through simple things like an email or a phone call or, you know, that kind of a thing. So, or just making a connection maybe or something. So Janet has, we attended a training for the aging plan, where advocacy was one of the topics, and Janet was there, and we had a really good discussion with her that kind of inspired the idea for this training and kind of, you know, we have a really good opportunity right now with lots of new people on all of the different committees, lots of different things to kind of set a good ground foundation for it all. So,
Yes. Yeah.
You said she's coming in September.
Yes.
Is it possible? I can't remember, what is our time frame for meeting every other month?
Our next meeting is in August.
So we can't coordinate it with our meeting then, but you will extend an invitation to
Yes.
us to attend the
Yes.
session that
Yes.
she's doing.
Yes. And we
The,
may even explore recording it as well, if someone is out of town or not able to
good,
attend.
that would be good.
Yeah.
The second question is, and this wouldn't necessarily be you having to do this, but we've already had a change in our senatorial coverage because of the map change.
Yeah, this one's gonna go over
So
Yep.
I will stop.
that. Thank you, thank you.
And that does go back, you know, your comment about Senator Ballwig's comment, the importance of us having the data and the
Mhm.
background information, if we do meet with them, to have some of that information is going to be very helpful, both from a story perspective, but also from what obviously they're involved with, which is legislation and budgeting, to talk with them about the importance of the work that you're doing,
Yeah.
to have the background information, as
Yeah.
well as the orientation to the process. I mean, Wapaka County is basically going from one representative to four in this process. And we are, many of us, changing our state senator as well. So I won't take your presentation, but it's very important that someone within the county system, especially after the election, but even preferably before, keeps us informed of the split in the county of our assembly and senate coverage, geographic coverage.
So, the change, governor signed the maps into law this last February. The maps, are in effect, these new maps are in effect now. They will be part of the August 13th primary, and obviously then moving forward, the November 5th general election. The purpose behind the redistricting, is to give voters a chance to elect representatives who are accountable to us, to the people. Within each of our new districts, there is not, there's a lot of sites, but not all of the websites are really easy to navigate. We did find a good website on Wisconsin State Legislature, and I forgot to make photocopy. I took one photocopy of this, or printed one copy of it, excuse me. Comparing the difference of what our maps looked like in purple compared to what our map is going to look like in yellow here. Our representatives within the district, you can see where it's talking about, Joan Baldwin in particular, she had a very large area that she represented previously. The redistricting, will provide us a lot of opportunities, I think, going along with our more local events. This is, the timing of this is really a good time, to get to meet these folks. Our conversation with Janet Zander, we're very excited to have her come in, and provide, she does a really good job of making things not sound complicated. Makes it sound doable, so, yeah, she's really great. Any questions with any of this?
You guys doing a good job. It's a lot of stuff.
Thank you. Change. Change.
Change is good.
Yeah. Yes, if you like the website for this, the redistricting maps, I can give that to you if you guys would like. All right, next, last but not least, we have Wisconsin statutes, section 45.51. So there has been a rather significant update, that has been made to the statutes as it relates to our veterans' homes, our veteran care facilities throughout Wisconsin. Wapaka happens to be, and King happens to be one of those facilities. Previously, the statute read that a veteran could have their spouse live in one of these facilities if that veteran was living in that facility first. The spouse couldn't go first, but the veteran themselves could go, and then the spouse could follow, as long as they met criteria for that facility. The change in the statute now, is that the individual's spouses, if they meet the criteria first to go into that type of skilled facility, they're able to go before the veteran, as long as they have been married for at least 6 months. Our numbers within these facilities in
They are,
general.
the spouse doesn't necessarily have to be a vet, is what you're saying.
Right, yes, yeah, doesn't have to be a vet, and they don't need to have their spouse go first.
That's a big change.
It is a big change, yes, yeah, so.
There'll be more women in there. Can you imagine that?
Oh, yeah. So thanks to Dan, for bringing this to our Veteran Service Office attention. Is there anything else that you wanted to highlight in this area?
2 other items related to seniors and
Mhm.
veterans. One is that there is, and I don't know if we have had any Hmong seniors coming here to our
We
ADRC.
haven't seen very many.
If there are, the state is now allowing for Hmong veterans to become US veterans, which potentially opens up their eligibility for other services, including the possibility of King. So I would suggest getting the details. In fact, I could give you this. It provides a little more detail, unless
Okay,
Jesse gave that to you already. That's item 3 on the other side is what I'm referencing right
Okay.
now. And then the other veteran-related issue is there's no longer a residency requirement for burial at the King, at the veterans, at any veteran cemetery, but for us at King. So that's a change, and that's explained there. So if you want to share that with the group at some point,
Sure
or
can.
whatever, that was the other
Mhm.
part of that report, in addition to what you talked about. By the way, the spouse issue for King, the spouse has to meet the need to be at a skilled nursing
Yeah,
facility.
right. The
So,
level of care, yeah.
yes,
Mhm.
so.
Yep.
That was the other.
So just because you want to go there doesn't mean that you necessarily are able to go there.
Correct. I have a friend that I have, should be Jack Elgers, the old, New London Police Chief.
Mhm.
He is there, and I haven't talked to him for a while, but, it's quite a process,
Yes, it is.
and,
Okay, so we wanted to add, the last item that we wanted to add on the agenda was, does anybody else have anything else on that agenda item? Okay. Other discussion items, yes, thank you. I wanted to say the right thing.
Is you're right.
Yes, I have several, but I will.
we're
defer.
gonna let you go right at it.
The first thing is to thank your staff for putting the booth upstairs and the sign up front and all of the material for other here. Very, very nice, very well done.
Got your purple
Yes.
ribbon, yes, that's awesome.
My wife, so thank you
Yes,
for doing
Yes.
that. That's well done. On Monday evening, this past Monday evening, we had two nurses present to Winchester Academy here in Wapaka on organ donation and the process that one goes through, A, to be on the list for organ donation, B, to be on the list of someone who needs an organ, and 3, the process, like that little sticker on one's driver's license to indicate that. And they talked about the whole process. That presentation has been recorded and it's online under Winchester Academy, and you can watch that. My question is, do you know if any of your staff attended that presentation?
I am not sure if they did.
Okay. Do you get the
I do.
presentations?
The brochures for the
Yes.
presentations, yes.
And every week, for the most part, the Wapaka County Post does print an article about upcoming events, and I only have one of these. So Erin Halpin and Joy Rickenbach, both a child and grandchild of a resident of the area, were the presenters, but this is the next weeks of presentations. But I would encourage when those kinds of presentations, because it's oftentimes people from outside the area, from whatever the subject is, but they're subject to experts, that if they're able to attend, that would be good. There were some nurses there and from other healthcare providers, and I think it's helpful. The unfortunate reality is that the number of people in need of a donated organ or multiple organs is much higher than the number of organs that are available.
Right.
But the technology is just incredible now for taking the organ and then transporting it anywhere in the country. And things like heart and liver and others that can be kept for a longer period of time means more people live. And so it's a pretty significant issue. The resource fair that took place was well done and well attended. And my wife and I appreciated that opportunity. So for anyone that was involved in helping with that, yeah, well done. Thank you. The veteran piece we've already talked about. On the 9th of May in the County Post, there was an article on the opioid crisis. And it reflected specifically regarding Wapaka County receiving lots of money to deal with the opiate addiction issue as part of a national settlement. That Wapaka County, over the period of the settlement, will receive as much as $1.7 million. And this article dealt with concerns about how it was spent. My question is, do we know in the elderly population, how many people are impacted with opiate addiction and treatment services? Or how many people have died? What our age numbers are for Wapaka County?
I do not have that data, no.
Do you know someone that may have access to that? And I would assume that the coroner's office would be aware of that.
Or do you mean specifically for our local Wapaka County data?
Yes.
I suppose perhaps the sheriff's department would know. Maybe public health, we could always sort of reach out to public health.
There's a few different places that
I-
reaching out to.
Yeah.
I know public health is responsible for dividing up
Mm-hmm.
that money because the police chief in Clintonville wanted to get a certain kind of new technology for their department. And it is a scanner, you can scan any type of drug and in a bag, and it will tell you exactly what's inside. And I spoke with public health after that, asking, well, how is this money being divided up? You know, who all gets a part of this money for the opiate settlement? And they told me that it's all to be determined yet, you know, but if somebody from a certain place would want or need some, I believe, or I think, you know, they should petition the board, the county board, and say, you know, my municipality needs this or would like this, or, you know, but I understand your thinking. That's something that should be known as well, because how many, and even now, how many elders are suffering with addiction issues or that can't be treated, or, you know, things like that. But there's not enough talk about that, you know.
They're usually thinking youth. The
Yeah.
main emphasis is youth.
Right, and so that's a really good point, that, you know, there may be a lot that we don't even know.
Wapaka County, whoever ultimately made the decision, and I believe it was approved by the county board, spent $59,204 for a TrueNarc device, which is the device you're talking about, which assesses. The question that has come up, and it's a legitimate question, is that an authorized use of the funds? In the settlement funds at the federal level and the state level, there's a specific set of guidelines on what the money can be spent for. And that is one of the questions that is coming up, was that an appropriate use of the funds? But I'm asking the question now from our responsibility in the ADRC and working with seniors especially, is what are the numbers? And the second question is who makes those decisions? And in most communities, counties, tribal governments, it's not just the government that makes the decision, but it is the people in the communities. So your example of having community input is very important. And so that would be a question, that's a question I'm talking with some other people about. Are there citizens involved, people who are directly impacted, treatment agencies, not just the county treatment agency, but private providers, healthcare providers. In the funding expenditures, the county is also putting money into hiring a substance abuse counselor. And so that's another approved use of the funds that, again, the county is involved with. My question ultimately is going to be who else is involved in providing input. So for us to provide input, I would like to know, is there a percentage of people, especially who are 60 and older? And I can pretty safely say the answer to the question is yes, because there are people 60 and older who are legally prescribed opiate medication, and safe or not. And that is a significant issue for us to be able to address as an ADRC committee to talk about. So it's the data that will help drive that, especially when we are talking to legislators and
Mhm.
talking with our county board representatives.
Well,
Well-
hopefully we can find something and bring it to the August meeting, because I know we were talking about a lot of the data. We'll be talking kind of about our senior profile when we go through the ADA plan. So,
Right, right.
yeah.
But you bring up a lot of good points. I hear what you're saying. Right now, it's sits with public health. And in collaboration for the position.
But it should almost be a discussion, a joint discussion, you know, on where that money is going, or who can use it, or what for. You know what I mean? Because it's not just that department that, it's like he's saying, you know, that hasn't even been discussed really.
It's really too bad Judy's not here, because she sits on the public health board.
Yeah, and she would know, have a little more input.
So I'll connect with her and see what other information I can have. But my question though, my other question is, can this wait till August?
I mean, for me personally, if you can provide the information, that would be helpful. I would say August is, well, that the issue is people are dying today in Wapaca County and in the state of Wisconsin because of opiate addiction. So the sooner we can be part of the discussion, the better. But our next meeting is August, so.
I'll see what, I can find, as I'm finding information, I can go ahead and share that with this.
You can always email us too.
Yeah, right, that's what I'll do. I'll email you guys as I'm finding out more information. And
Excellent.
we can have it on our agenda for next month and have, continue the conversation for sure.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up.
And my last question, and I'm maybe Tammy, we can have this discussion with the tragic loss of our county board chair. Has there been discussion at the county board level for the establishment of a county executive position?
Not that I am aware of. I'm not in those talks, but maybe others have had those talks, but I have not been involved in any of that.
Okay. I think it's a position that is needed to benefit much of what we have been talking about. And I hope that at some point the county board talks about that.
County board chairman is Dave Morak. He does have open office hours. I know that, Mandy Welsh and our HR director and administrative coordinator, she keeps the calendar for those open office hours. So if you'd like to have a conversation with Dave, you could reach out to Mandy and see if you could get on his schedule.
Sure. Thank you.
What day was it that I was talking? It's Wednesdays.
Well, he was here this morning because I walked in with.
He's here almost every day, isn't he? Yeah. I
For
just-
something or another.
Yeah. Yeah, he'd be the one to talk to.
Thank you.
Good guy. Yeah, good conversation. All right,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Is there any treatment centers for, the elderly for substance abuse?
There are treatment centers. I don't know that there's a specialized one.
I'm not aware of a specialized one, no.
Is there any, there's not even any in Wapaca County, is there? Treatment centers?
Isn't
Or-
that
or
what,
like,
Mission Hope House has turned into? I believe that's what they are now, a treatment facility. They went away from the homeless model and, they're doing treatment.
They are, okay. I know that they're supporting individuals that are suffering from substance addiction. I didn't know that there was a treatment component to Mission of Hope.
I know that there ones in neighboring communities and that I think there are satellite offices for some of them, like I believe Rogers Behavioral has one here, satellite office in Wapaca, don't they? Or is it in Appleton?
Maybe Appleton. I'm not aware of a Rogers here in Wapaca County, but
Right, yeah, there are some not too far. There's-
But you guys hit the nail on the head in an area that we need to do a better job of providing more information on. Because where are those facilities? Are there specialty type clinics, treatment centers?
Right.
Well, there are folks within our department who
Right.
have those answers, but Melissa and I are not them.
Right,
So,
yes,
But we
yes.
can get that information from them, for sure.
yes. That's great. Thanks, guys. Yeah. All right, anything else? Not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second it again.
All in favor?
Be second.
All right,
This
very
is
good.
pretty neat that they
Thank you.
put this, all these events on here too. This is the library, this Winchester?
Manchester Academy is a group of people that promote adult education.
Oh,
And we conduct the